All right. Hey, happy New Year. Happy New Year. Good to see you guys. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Hope everybody's having a good time and ready to get back to it at work. I'm going to talk about the unit circle. I know this is stuff you're not going to be, you're not going to have to worry about for about 2 weeks, but I want to go over it now. Get you guys ready for it. Okay. So, if you guys are doing well, let's get after it. I want to talk about the unit circle. What's the unit circle? The unit circle is a circle that's centered about 0, 0 that has radius 1. So this is the unit circle, okay? And the equation of the unit circle is x squared plus y squared equals 1. The radius is 1. So that means any point that's on this unit circle will satisfy this equation. Now this is, of course, the coordinate right here, 1, 0. That satisfies this equation because I plug in x equals 1 and y equals 0, I get 1 equals 1, and it all works out, okay? This is another point. This is the point negative 1, 0. This is the point 0, comma 1. This is the point 0, comma negative 1. All those points satisfy this equation. So they're on this circle. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about other points on this circle. And the other points that I'm going to talk about is the way I'm going to define them is in terms of finding these points. So I want you to imagine a string. Okay? I want you to imagine a string. And you always take this string, so I have a string of a certain length, and you're going to start this string right here, and you always wrap counterclockwise around the perimeter of this circle. Okay, I want you to imagine that. So what would be the length of a string that went all the way around? Well, the length of a string that went up, the string that goes all the way around, remember the circumference of a circle is pi times the diameter. The diameter here is 2 units, so the total circumference is 2 pi. That's the circumference of this. 2 pi is a number. 2 pi is like 17 or 25 or whatever. 2 pi is a number. Okay? All right, fine. That's the length of it all the way around. Okay, fine. What would be the length of half the way around? If 2 pi is length all the way around, half the way would just be 1 pi, right? If this is 2 pi, then that's 1 pi. So this is 1 pi to get to here if I start here. It's 2 pi to get to here. If I go 3 pi, it'd be 1, 2, 3 pi to get to here. If I went negative pi, I'd rotate clockwise. Hopefully that makes sense, okay? So what I want to do is, again, I always want to talk about having a string that starts at a certain point, and I want to wrap that string, okay? All right, so find the terminal point. Where does the string end? On the graph that has the following t lengths. So again, I'm getting a string of a certain length, and I want to find the terminal point. Suppose t equals 0. That means I start here and I wrap 0 around. Where do I end up if I wrap 0 around? Well, where I end up if I wrap 0 around is just my starting point, 1, 0. So if I wrap a string and the string has 0 length, I don't go anywhere. That's where I'm at. Okay, number 2. Suppose I have t equals pi. I have a string that starts here and I wrap counterclockwise, and I have a string of length pi. Where do I end? I end at the point negative 1, 0. Okay? If I have a string of length 2 pi, where do I turn up? I turn up at 1, 0. 1, 0. Now check this out, number 4. Suppose I have 3 halves pi, or 3 pi over 2. That's usually the way they write it. 3 pi over 2. That's 1.5 pi. So I go 1 pi and then half a pi. And that puts me in this location here. 0, comma, negative 1. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, number 5. T equals pi over 2. Half of a pi. This is a pi. This is 2 pi. Half of a pi puts me to here. 0, comma 1. Okay, hopefully this makes sense to everybody. Okay. So what I want you to do, I've sent you guys a worksheet, or you have a worksheet, and what I want you to do is I want you to fill it in. You need to fill it in. This is t equals 0. This is t equals pi over 2. You're going to put in the coordinate. You're going to put the t values associated with it. This is t equals pi. This is 3 pi over 2. Okay. Now, suppose I have this, number 6. T equals negative pi over 2. So instead of wrapping clockwise, I'm going to wrap counterclockwise, and I'm going to get here, I'm going to get 0, comma, -1 is my terminal point. That's where it ends. It terminates, right? Okay, good. So hopefully this makes sense. Now, these are not the only 4 values that I need you to memorize, and you must memorize these. T equals 0, 0.10. T equals pi over 2, when I wrap it around, 0, 1. You must memorize these 4, okay? Turns out there's 12 more that you have to memorize. Now, I know it sounds like a lot. 12 sounds like a lot. It's not as much as you think. It's not as much as you think. Because once you memorize one quadrant, you'll have the rest, okay? Because there's symmetry involved. So I'm going to just focus on that quadrant 1 piece. So I'm going to make a larger quadrant 1 now. Okay. Here's a larger quadrant 1. And I've got 3 other positions. So this is the point 1, 0. T equals 0, or T equals 2 pi, same thing. And this is the point 0, 1, and this is T equals pi over 2. So it turns out, guys, if this is pi over 2, then if I go to the middle, what's half of a half? Well, this is a half of a pi. Half of a half puts me here. What's half of pi over 2? Pi over 4. Hopefully that makes sense. Half of a half is a quarter, right? So half of pi, right? Pi was all the way to here. Half of it puts me to here, okay? Half of this would put me right there in the middle. So this is going to be T equals pi over 4. And what's the terminal point? Well, it's interesting because if that's halfway through, we know the x-coordinate has to be the same as the y-coordinate because it goes through the point, the line y equals x. If y is x, then x has to equal y. It's a perfect diagonal that goes through there. So what's the coordinates of this? Well, it's interesting. It's root 2 over 2, comma root 2 over 2. And I know that that point is on this unit circle because it satisfies this equation. X squared plus y squared equals 1. So root 2 over 2 squared plus root 2 over 2 squared equals 1. That is true. Square the square root, and I just get 2/4 plus 2/4. Does that equal 1? Yep. So this is one of the special points I need you guys to memorize. You must memorize this point, okay? When t equals pi over 4, I need you to write this down. You get this value. Okay? Fantastic. There's another one. What happens if I don't divide this thing in half and then in 4? So what if I divide it into thirds? So pi divided by 3 gives me pi over 3. What are the coordinates to this terminal point? Again, this is a point, boom, right here. That's the coordinates, 1, 0. This is a point, boom, 0, 1. This is a point, root 2 over 2, comma root 2 over 2. What's the coordinates of this point? When I wrap a string of length pi over 3, turns out to be root 3 over 2, 1/2. And I know that's on the line here, or on the circle here, because root 3 over 2 plus 1/2 squared equals 1. 3/4 plus 1/4 equals 1/4. Okay? Good. Now, what about this one? So that's that point. One more special point. This is pi. This is pi over 2. This is pi over 4. That's 1/3 pi, right? That's 1/4 pi. That's 1/2 pi. This right here, guys, if this is pi over 3, this is half of pi over 3. Again, it's not drawn very well, but this is half of pi over 3. If I divide that by 2, I get pi over 6. This is another special one. T equals pi over 6. What are the coordinates of this point? 1/2. Excuse me. This one should have been, 1/2 comma root 3 over 2. I screwed that up. Because it's 1/2 over up root 3 over 2. So this one's going to be root 3 over 2 over and then up 1/2. Okay. So once and you have to memorize these, you must memorize these. Absolutely, the first thing that has to happen is you must memorize these. You have to memorize this. When t equals pi over 3, the coordinates of the terminal point are 1/2 root 3 over 2. When I have a t length of pi over 4, root 2 over 2, comma root 2 over 2, and when I have a t length of pi over 6, root 3 over 2, 1/2. You must memorize these. Okay? Now, what I want to do is guys, I'm taking this circle here. I'm taking this circle and I'm breaking it up and talking about t lengths. But there's actually something that corresponds with it. And this is kind of interesting. I know you guys know in a circle that there's 360 degrees, right? 360 degrees. So that means this would be here 0 degrees if I rotated it this way. And this would be 90 degrees if I rotated this way. And this would be 45 degrees. Well, it turns out if this is 1/3 of 180, it turns out that this one is 60 degrees. And it turns out that this one is 30 degrees because it's 1/6 of the way, okay? Now, guys, what I've done is I've put up a worksheet I want you to fill this information in, okay? You're gonna fill this information for the top right quadrant, and you're gonna use symmetry to fill in the coordinates and the t values on quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. And I need you guys to do this. You need to commit to do it. It's very important. Make it happen, okay? That's the expectation. All right, good. And spring 2022, good stuff. All right, guys.